Hi, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing my flawless base makeup routine. These are the products and the techniques that I use when I know that I want my skin to look as flawless as possible. So let's get into it. First up, I'm going in with primer, and I'm going to use the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. This is one of my favorites. If you want your makeup to last all day and the products to just kind of stick to it, I definitely recommend this. But if you don't like this kind of silicone-y, sticky primer, then you probably would not want this. But I found that it works great for this makeup look. So I just put it all over and then kind of let it set into my skin for like a minute or two. And then I also forgot to mention that I do have mascara and my eyebrows done already. So this is strictly just going to be the base makeup that I use. I'm not going to go into eyes or anything like that. But next up is another primer. I like to go in with a little bit of the e.l.f. Halo Glow liquid filter. My shade is Fair Light. I pretty much use this anytime I do my makeup. It's just that good. But I only go in with a little bit. It just kind of, I don't know, gives me a little bit of extra coverage, I feel like, and a little bit of a glow. So I'm just going to take my sponge and then blend that out. And then for foundation, I guess you could say, it's not really a foundation, but that's kind of the step that I'm using it for. It's this Fenty Beauty Blurring Skin Tint. This is shade 4 that I'm using. I really love this stuff. I don't like wearing a lot of foundation. There's a few foundations that work with my skin, but since my skin is so dry, if I wear too heavy of a foundation, I feel like my skin just gets like crusty by the end of the night. So I like to use like skin tints, BB cream, stuff like that kind of sits on my skin a little bit better normally. So I just started using this and I really like it. I think it has a little bit more of a full coverage than most skin tints. I mean, it's not full coverage at all, but it does have more coverage than what you normally would think of as a skin tint. And I really like it. And it's just kind of like a soft finish. It's a little bit matte, but I haven't had any issues with it. So I just take a little bit on the back of my hand and then just dot that around my face. And with this product, I actually like to use a brush to blend it out. This one's by It Cosmetics. It's old. All the words have worn off, so I don't know what number it is, but I'll find it and then link it below. So I'm just going to take this brush and then kind of pat out the skin tint. I just found that using a brush with this product is the best way to get the most like flawless finish. Sometimes if I'm in a hurry or whatever and I don't feel like, I'm not trying to have the most flawless makeup ever, I will just use like a sponge or something. Even my fingers sometimes work, but when I'm going for that really full coverage, like flawless makeup look, I use a brush. So now it's all blended out. I don't know if you can really tell, but it's kind of just a very like soft matte finish. Some spots look a little bit shiny, I think, because of the primer that I used, but it has a really nice finish to it and I like it. But you can kind of see the coverage. Like my blushes still do poke through, but there is some coverage there. Now I'm going to go in with concealer. I'm going to use this one by Rare Beauty. The shade that I have is 190W. And this right now is not a perfect shade for me, but I like the coverage of this concealer. It's pretty full coverage, which I like. So I'm going to do a little trick to kind of make it match to my skin. So I just put a little bit on under my eyes and then my nose, chin, around my mouth and my nose, and then on any pimples that I have or want to cover up. And my little hack is taking this really light concealer. This is the LA Girl Pro Conceal. This is the shade Fairest. And I just take a tiny bit of that and kind of put it in the middle of my concealer. And it helps lighten the Rare Beauty concealer up a little bit and then make it match my skin better. So with this, I'm just going to take my sponge and then start to blend that out. And I always lift it up towards my temple to make my face look more lifted. Usually when I use a sponge, I feel like I can't get into the corners of my eyes very good. So I will go in with another brush. This one is by Tarte. And I go in with this more pointed end and I just kind of blend out the concealer really close to my eye and then in that corner just to make it look more flawless. Once my concealer's on, I go in with a cream bronzer, and the one I'm using today is by Rare Beauty. This is the bronzer stick in the shade Bright Side. So I just take this and go right where I put my bronzer on my cheeks and my forehead. And then I'll also put some on my nose so I can snatch that. And this cream bronzer stick is so nice and so blendable. So if you're looking for a good high-end cream bronzer, this one's really good and it's not that expensive compared to other brands. And to blend out my cream bronzer, I'm just going to use this angled brush. I don't know what brand it is. I got it at TJ Maxx or Marshall's. So any angled brush like this will work. I take that and then I just start working in the product and blending it out the best that I can. And then I like to take the excess product and just run it on my jawline to make that look a little bit snatched and bring it up like towards my ear. To blend out the nose, I'm going to take this same Tarte brush, but I'm going to use the other side that's kind of angled and fluffy. And I'm just going to blend my nose contour out with that. I can just be more precise when I'm using a smaller brush, and I feel like it just makes it turn out better. And I do like to run that product kind of in the inner corner of my eye too, just again to give it that seamless blend. And so there's no harsh lines. Now I'm actually going to go back in with concealer. So I'm going to take the Rare Beauty concealer again, and I'm going to put just a little bit under where I did the bronzer on both sides. And this is just to kind of clean up the lines from the cream bronzer and make everything look more flawless. So I'll take my sponge and just kind of blend that out really good and create that sharp line to make my face look more snatched. I feel like I used a little bit too much. So what I will do then, to make it not look as harsh, I'll take the brush that I use for the bronzer and just kind of tap that a little bit. Because I do want there to be like a line, but I don't want it to look not blended. So I just take this brush and kind of blend it out a little bit to soften the line up. Next step that I do, I'm actually going to go in with the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer. Mine looks really gross. I use this almost every day with that same brush, and I'm just going to kind of go over a little bit where I put my bronzer. And this just kind of helps, I think, melt everything together, and I don't know if it's 100% necessary, but I just like how it looks. I think it just gives it like a nice little soft touch and makes your skin look more flawless. So I just tap that all over, and then I'll take a little bit, just lightly brush it on my nose. I don't know if you can really tell close up or if it's really necessary to use the skin enhancer, but I just feel like it blends and melts everything together and then just kind of makes everything look more defined and seamless. But next I'm going to go in with blush. This is the e.l.f. liquid blush. If it will focus. In the shade Dusty Rose. So I'm just going to put a dot on both my cheeks. And this stuff is pretty pigmented, so I try not to use a ton. And I'm going to take this brush that I always use, just a flat, like fluffy blending brush, and I'm going to blend out the blush all over my cheeks. And I'm going to bring that up towards my temple. And then to the other side. My blush is on, and these blushes by e.l.f. are so good, and they're so comparable to the Rare Beauty blushes, but way cheaper. So if you don't want to spend a lot of money on a liquid blush, I recommend the e.l.f. one for sure. They're so good. Now we're on to powder products. So I'm going to go in with just a tiny bit of setting powder, not very much at all, because my skin cannot handle it. The setting powder that I usually use, and I don't even know if they make it anymore, it's by Milk Makeup. It's the Blur and Set Loose Setting Powder. I don't know. I've had this for a long time. I don't use a lot of powder, so this has lasted me like years, basically. But I'm going to take this little puff and just tap on like that much. And use that to set my under eyes. And then I do bring it down the side of my nose. And the tip of my nose, the bridge of my nose. And then I do dip back in a tiny bit more, the same amount that I just did. And I put that where I had that concealer earlier, just to kind of define my cheeks and my contour a little bit more and set that. And then I'll kind of set around my mouth without dipping it back in where I put the other concealer earlier. And that's it for powder. Sometimes I'll go in with powder bronzer, but today I'm not really feeling it. I like how it looks right now. If I feel like I need a little pick-me-up or want to look more bronzy, then I will go in with it, but I'm not going to today. Next I'm going to go in with powder blush, and the one I'm going to use is the Blush by Essence. This is the shade 40 Beloved, and just a little like mauvey pink blush. And I'm going to take this brush by It Cosmetics. It's the KEPO0W brush. It's from Ulta. I think it's like an Ulta exclusive because it says It Brushes by Ulta. And it's just like a fluffy stippling brush. So I'm going to go in to my blush with that and kind of run that on my cheeks where I put the liquid blush. And it doesn't do much, it just kind of enhances the color and makes the blush pop a little bit more. Last up, we have highlighter. And I'm going in with a powder highlighter today. It's the Essence Pure Nude Highlighter. This is the shade 10, Be My Highlight. And I'm going in with this Real Techniques brush, just kind of like this is called a setting brush. That's what it says on the actual brush, but I use it for highlighter. This is my favorite powder highlighter. It's not too dramatic, but it does give you a nice little pop. So I just go in with that on the high points of my face, on my cheeks, around my eyes. And then my nose, the tip of my nose, and the bridge. Okay, so here is the finished look. I did add on a little lip combo just to kind of bring everything together. So I will put that in the description box below. But I didn't want to show that or my eyes on camera because I wanted it to really focus on my face and my base makeup for this video. This is the final finished product and how I get what I consider my most flawless base makeup. Those are my favorite products and tools and techniques that I like to use. So let me know if you've tried any of these products or what your holy grails are to get what you would consider your most flawless makeup, because I definitely want to try them. But thank you for watching. Bye!